Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump.
You said that during Abraham.
Oh, yeah.
What do you want to see Congress do for the veterans specifically? What's lacking right now?
It'll be very exciting.
I want to ask you about the election. Mr. Trump, you guys have known each other a long time.
Well, because we're not going to put up with that.
Policy.
Hey,
you're not
they can speculate all they want.
In particular, Hillary Clinton, after pledging to raise $2.5 billion. I'm Nicholas Balsi here in Washington with Stacey Dash.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
It's exciting. You have a lot going on with your new book.
Yeah.
I wanted to start by asking you what influenced you to write the book and how your friends in Hollywood are receiving the new book, There Goes My Social Life.
My friends in Hollywood? Let's see. Why did I write the book? I wrote the book because I wanted people to know that when I say things, I don't say them from a place of judgment, but from a place of experience. I really believe that people think that I'm Dion, that I was born in Beverly Hills with a silver spoon in my mouth. And if you read my book or any of my book, you'll see, that's not true. I grew up in the South Bronx to 2 drug-addicted parents. Life. So, no, I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And then what was the other question you asked me?
So, how your friends are receiving it?
Oh, that's right. That's why I just blacked that one out. Because they're not.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of friends stopped being my friends. And I've been ostracized. I haven't auditioned in over a year and a half. My agents just dropped me because of my political views, and they told me that casting directors say to them things like, "I give you credit for pitching her with a straight face." And yet they're supposed to be the liberal, tolerant society of Democrats.
Did you expect that kind of backlash when you came out and supported Romney in 2012?
I didn't expect anything. I'm serious. I just started tweeting, and really getting into it, and I just tweeted what I thought was right, what I believed to be true, and I still do. And woke up the next day and my whole life had changed, Everybody wanted me to kill myself somehow. So many different ways to kill yourself. It's amazing. But, of course not. Do that. I tried that before. I wasn't going to do that again.
Well, compared to 2012, looking at now, you just came out recently. You joined a pro-Trump group. What's the backlash been like now compared to 2012, now that you're out as pro-Trump?
Now it's just like I said, now it's just like blatant, okay, we're going to start ostracizing, blacklisting you. And I'm like, okay, keep it coming. Keep it coming, because you're not going to scare me into submission. It's not going to happen.
Well, when it comes up in conversation, how do you explain your support for Trump and explain why some minorities, for example, African Americans, Hispanics, should be supporting Trump?
Well, because, what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result or something like to that effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you keep voting Democrat and nothing changes? Try something new. Especially a guy who's not the establishment, okay? So he's not the man, as they say it, right? The establishment doesn't even like him. But he's a Republican. He's a conservative. So, not only that, I come from the South Bronx. Where I came from, to be on welfare was frowned upon. You were looked at as a lamb for the slaughter. You were looked at as weak, lazy, irresponsible. The people who were respected were the hustlers, because they went out and they made money, cash money, and a lot of it. And God help you if you tried to take a single dime of that money. And God help you if you tried to touch their guns that they had. Okay? So there's 2 questions right there that are very conservative principles. You make your money, you want to keep your money, right? You have your guns, you want to keep your guns, right? Very conservative, right?
So you're saying that message actually could resonate with people in the inner city, for example?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. If we just say it the right way and show them what the truth is. and go into the inner cities and show them that the narrative that they're being fed by the plantation mentality of the Democrats, is false.
How do you deal with the gun issue, for example, looking at what happened just now in Orlando?
Yeah.
How do you deal with the right to have a gun or even an assault rifle, for example, and at the same time, deal with what the Democrats are saying, and that is rein it in, have an assault weapons ban again, for example?
Unfortunately, this awful, horrible event is a perfect example of why the Second Amendment must remain. This town is a town where people could not carry weapons. This guy still had guns. And who was he? He was a bad guy. Because the good guys were obeying the law and they didn't have any weapons. Now, had the law said, yes, you can carry your weapon, there could have been somebody in that club that could have shot this guy before he killed so many people. But no, that wasn't the case.
We're already seeing calls for the assault weapon ban to come back because Democrats are saying, look, he could kill less people in Orlando, for example. And in the period of time that he was able to kill 50 people,
Right.
he could kill less if he didn't have an assault weapon.
I love how that makes it different, better, or worse, right? If he killed one or kills 50. If he kills one, it's just as bad as if he kills 50. Do you know what I mean? And it's not the gun that killed them. It's the guy that killed them. This is the thing. This is what I'm saying. Had the good guys been armed, they would have been able to protect themselves. But they couldn't.
Now, you tweeted about the Orlando incident, and you talked about how it would not happen if President Trump were in charge. What made you write that on Twitter? What do you think wouldn't happen and why? if he was
Because
in
I
charge?
know that he's going to allow people to carry their guns. He's going to arm the good guys so that we can take control of our country and take our country back from the bad guys. And then the bad guys won't think so quick, oh, I'm going to go shoot because I know they're not going to have guns because they're obeying the law. I'm lawless, they're not. What they're going to think is, obeying the law, they can still have a gun. Maybe it's not going to be so easy for me to go in there and kill all these people because there's going to be good guys with guns. It's like the Wild Wild West, right? Everybody had to have a gun.
Well, speaking of the Wild Wild West and your experience in Hollywood,
No.
looking at films, I mean, do you think the violence in films, for example, or in the music industry and lyrics, rap lyrics, is influencing children?
I think, listen, for me, the best thing to do with children, and I have two, with weapons, is to teach them, inform them, show them how to use it, let them know it's dangerous, let them know it's not a toy, let them know that it can kill someone, what the consequences are of using a gun. But you can't pretend you can't try and hide it from them and cover their ears and no, you have to inform them so that they know what it is. And I think that movies with guns and the rap songs, it's just one big ad for the NRA. It's just one big ad. That's all it is. It's up to the parents to make sure that their children know how to use a gun or not use a gun.
Because some advocates have said Hollywood should cut back on the glorification of violence. That's why I asked the question. And in rap lyrics, for example, talking about killing another person.
Yeah.
If a kid, child hears that, could that actually encourage them to lash out? That's the
I think
question.
children know that music is music and rap is rap. But yeah, there is a subculture of people. There is a culture in the hood that follows certain codes. Yes, this is true. So what we have to do as Republicans is educate the inner city people in the inner cities. Give them a better education. Show them that we care. And if we don't like what's being put out in Hollywood, because we know that Hollywood dictates the culture of the whole country, then put our money where our mouths are. Let's start putting more money into Hollywood. Let's start making the movies. Let's start making the TV shows. Let's start making the music.
Are there conservatives in Hollywood that you know of that
Yes.
haven't come out publicly and said,
Thousands.
really?
Thousands.
Why do you think they're not coming out?
Because they're scared.
And talk, because how can content in Hollywood change if they're not going to come out?
Thank you. It can't. They have to get a backbone. Get a backbone, plant your feet, stand firm, and don't let anybody move you. Stand up for what you believe in. And if you believe in God, if God is for you, no man can be against you. So what are you afraid of?
Do any conservatives in Hollywood come up to you privately and say,
Yes.
I agree with you?
Yes, and they say thank you. They thank me. Thank you for being brave. And I say, of course, well, I have no choice. You know, this is who I am. And then I say, well, why don't you do the same thing, please? Because I'm one person. We don't even know what the ratio is because conservatives don't come out. There can be more of us than there are of them. We will never know unless people start speaking up.
Is there anybody we would be surprised is conservative?
There are lots of people you would be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say. Snitches get stitches.
Understandable.
I'm not snitching.
Well, you know, there was a prominent Hollywood writer recently that wrote an article and was saying there were some people at a fundraiser, Democratic fundraiser, and they've heard rumblings of, hey, there are a lot of people around here, even in that part of the country, that would support Donald Trump, which a lot of people wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Do you think, though, this controversy, for example, with the Mexican comments and the Trump University judge could hurt that, people who are leaning toward him,
If it
especially
does,
minorities?
If it does, I really think that's ridiculous. I really do, because lawyers do that all the time. You know, they'll if they're prosecuting someone or if they're defending someone, they always think about who's the judge. How am I going to do this? How am I going to present this? You know. So what he's doing is the same thing. He's not being racist. He's just thinking about, okay, I've said some things, and maybe this guy might not like it, or maybe this guy took it the wrong way, took it out of context. You know, I don't know, is what he's saying. I don't know. So what do I do? How do I do this? But he's not saying, oh my God, he's a Mexican, I can't stand him. He's never said that.
Because in the mainstream media, it's being portrayed as because he's Mexican, Trump doesn't think he can do his job as a judge, and he's attacking the judiciary.
Right. That's not how it is. What he's doing is he's saying, okay, this is my particular case, and this judge, and not only that, he could be part of the, you know, the superior court. That they're very important, right, to our being Americans. It's the American livelihood. It's the American lifestyle. They make the decisions. So he has to think about these things. How does this guy lean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, does he have the virtues and the values that we have as Republicans and conservatives? Because that's the way this guy's going to go.
Now that you're in this pro-Trump organization, which feel free to describe a little bit more about what's going on in the next few months with that group. But are you planning on meeting with Donald Trump himself?
I have.
Oh, you have met?
I've
Okay.
met him. Yes, I have met him. And, you know, they say that he's racist. They say he's all these things. Yet, meanwhile, he's the only candidate I've ever heard actually say, I will make sure that the African American community gets the education they deserve. I will make sure that they get the opportunities that they deserve. I will make sure that they are able to achieve the American dream. And not only that, he put Dr. Ben Carson in charge of education. I mean, does a racist do that? No.
Did you discuss those kinds of issues with him? Education,
Well,
for example?
Not yet. We didn't get to talk about that. But I have a minority outreach program,
Okay.
a strategy. It's a very tactical strategy that Herman Cain, Colonel Allen West, Sheriff Clark, Dr. Ben Carson, they're all interested in doing with me. And I know it would work.
School choice is a central part of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. School choice and also less entitlements and more incentives. You know? Because when you don't have a sense of achievement, when people are always giving you stuff for free, what happens? You don't know who you are. You don't know what you're worth because you've never achieved anything. So you become depressed. And then when you become depressed, you then what? Become addicted. Then you become addicted, you become abusive or abused. And then what happens? It perpetuates itself, the next generation. Right? So it's just one big perpetuating stereotype, generation after generation after generation. Get off the Ferris wheel. Try something new.
Now, Trump has connected some of these issues, particularly the unemployment in the African American community, to immigration, illegal immigration. Do you see a connection between offering a pathway to citizenship for illegal immigrants to the unemployment in the
Yes.
African American community?
Yes, yeah. Because they're cheaper. And people don't have to pay taxes. You know? I know a lot of rich people in California who hire people who are not legal, you know, and don't pay taxes and pay them cash. This is how it works.
Mm-hmm. So you think
This is taking jobs away from the people who are here legally, who are fighting the same fight to get them and their American dream, but they can't find a job.
Do you think that message will get to independent voters in the general election who are leaning possibly toward Hillary Clinton?
If we, as Republicans, make sure that it does, yes, it will. But we have to do it. We can't just talk the talk. We have to walk the walk.
So, last question for you would be, what steps do you think the Republicans should take in the general election against Hillary Clinton to get that message out there, particularly on illegal immigration?
I don't want to say too many specifics, but the first thing I say is get boots on the ground in the neighborhoods. Find out who's who, what's what. Really do it. Do it like you're fighting a war, because that's what this is. Right now, we are at war. We are at war to get our country back. And we're going to do it. We're going to win.
Trump's been criticized a little bit for not having a good enough ground game. Mm-hmm. But he won the primary, but critics are saying that's not, same strategy is not going to work in the general election against the Clintons.
It could be his chess move. You know, he could be holding his cards close to his chest. Right?
Could be.
Could be.
And he has such a small staff right now compared to Hillary. I mean, she's got over 800 people.
Right. He's a smart guy. So.
Well, thank you so much for your time. The book is There Goes My Social Life, From Clueless to Conservative. Make sure you check it out. The book is out now.
Yes.
And thanks so much for watching. I'm Nicholas Balasi in Washington.